Welcome everybody to today's webinar. We're going to be talking about marketing automation tools that you can really use to set up within your CRM, help nurture your leads and turn them into clients, and just kind of get an overview of the tools within your system and how to actually use them. My name is Madison. I'll be taking care of everyone today and showing you around the system. I'm the marketing specialist over here at GreenRope. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please let me know via the chat box. Otherwise, email us at support@greenrope.com and we'll be happy to help if you're watching this during the recording. So the agenda for today, we're going to be talking about, firstly, the benefits of marketing automation, what it really is and why you want to use it. Then we'll go into some GreenRope marketing tools that you can set up to help streamline this process. And then we'll jump into the system just to talk about 3 of the big key ways in which you can set up these tools, especially for your email marketing. And then we'll jump into any other questions that you have at the end, and we will answer any of those there. So the first rule in technology is when it comes to marketing automation, you really want to manage your business processes first. So the efficiency of your operation will only be magnified when you're setting up your marketing automation tools. So for example, if your processes are flawed, that's when you set up the marketing automation, it's only going to magnify that inefficiency and that processes with your business. So some benefits of setting up marketing automation in the first place is to really help with that sales and marketing team alignment. You're just going to open up those channels of communication, stop people working in silos, and increase that efficiency and scalability. So as you get the full tracking throughout the system, everyone is on the same page and really understanding the interaction between your clients and your business. So with that tracking, you do get that better ROI, and you can set it up correctly to free up some time and work towards other parts of your business that might need your attention. And the concrete measure of success, especially with such an integrated and complete CRM, everything is going to be tracked within the contact record, within the tool you set it up with, as well as within the email tracking. Everything is going to be tracked and you can measure, and it really helps with setting it up, better processes, and helps continuously improving what you have. There's lots of things going around about marketing automation. Set this up, not really understanding the process of why they're wanting to set it up or where to even start setting it up. So a good place to start is going to be through your buyer's journey. Just map out, are they in the awareness stage? Are they becoming aware of your business? Are they considering your business to be a viable solution for what they're looking for? Are they ready to purchase your service or product? Are you trying to keep a client's retention or even just advocacy to keep your clients happy? There's different ways that you can set up the automation in different other stages of your buyer's journey. So for example, you can think about, are they having a negative or positive experience with your company at the moment? And each of those sections, you can plot out a different touch point of their interaction with your company. Marketing automation actually works best when we're going to be talking from the consideration to the purchasing stage. And this is kind of what we're going to focus on today. People are now aware and they're considering your business as an option for them. And now you want to create that streamlined process to move them from considering your business to visiting your store and get that nurturing until they purchase your product. At the end of the day, a marketer's ultimate job is to increase revenue. And marketing automation helps you generate more of those high quality leads and nurture them effectively to turn them into clients. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And a few of the tools that we're going to cover. First is going to be the Automation Manager. This is going to be a high-level overview of everything going on in your account, all the automation set up. You don't create any of the automation here. This is just to get an overview, and you can also make edits within this section. So as you're going through the processes, you can understand that. The workflows is going to be next, as it's one of the most powerful tools in the whole system. Basically, any automation you set up within your account, you trigger a workflow to start that process. We'll talk about the link library and hot and cold automation. When people do something of engagement or something of value for you, what do you do to segment and trigger that automation? And then we'll dive into the system and show you a bit of the campaign optimizer, the drip campaigns, as well as the journeys. So firstly, the Marketing Automation Manager can be found within the Automation dropdown, as for a lot of the marketing tools are also within this dropdown. And it shows you all the automation you have set up. For example, some of the options here is going to be your sign up and your ticketing forms, your website, your videos, any surveys you've created, any user fields. So it's an overview of everything going on in your CRM as it pertains to connecting to your clients and setting up that more detailed information. This is a simple example of what you would see when you go into this section. As you can see, everything is segmented on the left. You would click to open the item. And this is a simple survey that I have set up, the customer experience. Below is going to be all the different questions I ask them. And if you click to edit, you can edit the survey and the questions and everything right from this page. So you would build the survey in the survey builder, but you can come into here and edit anything as you're working through it on a higher level. Next would be the workflows. The workflows is probably the biggest tool that we have within the system that really shows you how to automate and streamline, especially your internal business processes. Helps with connecting your sales to follow up with leads, triggering sections of automation based on engagement from clients, leads, prospects, anybody, to make sure that really nobody slips through the cracks and you create a consistent experiences this way. There's also a great article called Triggering Workflows. I believe there's a mini video as well that tells you all the different ways throughout the system that you can set up these triggers and kickstart that automation. There's a great study done that shows that only 36% of marketers are actively nurturing their sales leads. That's huge because marketing does a good job of bringing in these leads, and 36% are only getting converted and working on effectively. And our response to that is setting up a few ways in the system that helps you also just fill in the gaps. So for example, our link library is also located within the automation dropdown. And any link that you send throughout the system, it's going to be stored in this link library. So anything you send in any emails, correspondence, and you're trying to have a specific call to action, you can go into the link library and set up any automation or lead scoring points or value associated with those specific links. This is great if you're using the link multiple times in different emails and you want to just track that specific download link, for example. When we talked about lead scoring, this is associated with more of that hot and cold automation, just to really help you focus on clients that are either really engaged, where we call them hot, or they're not really taking any action at all, cold, which you can help drive them down your sales funnel and nurture them effectively based on really closing those hot leads or trying to re-engage the cold leads. So I would definitely look into this section because there's a lot going on. The activities and opportunities right over here is where you would set up the specific points of value. So for example, if somebody reads or clicks or opens an email, that's valuable for you. So you would set up higher points. If they unsubscribe or bounce, you would set negative points. And in the automation tab right here, you can see there is rules that you can set up. So if a new lead reaches 4 points in one day, I want to call them. If a new sign up reaches 10 points in one day, I will move them into a new hot leads group and send them on a different automation. The cold leads over here, if a current client doesn't exceed 5 points, which is in the 30 days, they're not opening any emails, they're not engaging, I'm going to have John follow up with him or her to re-engage them and keep them happy. And this really helps with just filling in those gaps and making sure that you're touching every person depending on their engagement with your business. This is the first of the big 3 items we're going to dive into the system with, as it was kind of hard to take a screenshot and show you here. I'd rather walk you through the steps of the campaign optimizer. So as you know, you can send an email broadcast right from here, the email broadcast section, but the campaign optimizer takes it one more step further. You can set up A/B testing for up to 5 different emails. You would then choose a target audience that you want to test this with. And then the highest performing test out of everything going on, you would ultimately send that as your main campaign. We'll walk through the system a bit more, but this is a really great way to take your broadcasts to a new level and really test out what's really working with your audience, and then send that main one to the rest of your group. Drip campaigns are also within the automation dropdown, and they're designed to be more of a set sequence of emails set up to automatically send to this group. As you can see next to the drip campaign right here, there's these 2 teardrops. It's important to note that in each individual group, if there's a drip campaign associated with that group, any contact added in there will automatically trigger this drip campaign to start. So drip campaigns are going to be more of a set sequence of emails that you want to send out to clients when they're added into the group. So here's a simple example. The name, you want to send it out at 9 a.m. and then you can set up immediately send them email 1. 2 days later, send them email 2. You can set up the delays that way. Also, you can set up workflows to trigger, for example, a courtesy call at the end of this drip campaign delay. And you can also copy drip campaigns per group, but they are group specific. If you wanted to get more in depth and have more of a customized path, the journeys feature is awesome. Probably my favorite feature in the whole system, to be honest. It's located within the automation dropdown. It's more of a drag and drop feature, which I really like, and it helps you build out that customer journey, and it creates seamless, tailored, identified journeys for each individual lead and customer. Journeys are not group specific, and so you would need to have a way to trigger clients to go on this journey. Versus the drip campaign, if a contact is added into the group, then they would start the drip campaign. Journeys, you will trigger them by yourself or by an action that they do that would start them on this journey. So here's a quick example. We'll walk through building one in just a minute, but it shows you the custom path that a client can take based on, decisions or actions or criteria that they meet, and you can really customize it for that person or lead. So let's jump into the system and I'll show you what we're working with and set this up together. So within your GreenRope system, the first way that you can go would be that campaign optimizer we talked about, would be right here within the Communicate Campaign Optimizer section. You would first build your emails that you have and save them to the library. In this section here, you would name your campaign. You would see all the different recipients within this group. Right now, I only have 4, which you can edit and filter and get the full list of contacts. Step 3 would be to choose your messages. So you can have up to 5 different test messages that you want to compare. For example, what we see a lot is different subject lines that you see who opens more and what subject lines are working better than others. Once you've identified the media library emails that you've created, you would choose a test audience. So this is what percentage of the amount of contacts right over here that you want to test this with. So let's say we want to do a quarter. If I had a bigger list, this would be more contacts, but it's a random 25% of my audience. I'm going to use this as a test. You would then choose a duration for how long you want to run this campaign test for. Right now it's set by 2 hours. So we're going to send the email out. We're going to wait 2 hours and we're going to see the results. And based on those results, you would choose the time and date where you want to schedule your actual campaign to go out. And then the time right here, and it's associated with the time zone you have selected for your specific account. And that's within the account settings. And then you launch your campaigns. So this is just a one-off campaign that you're sending to clients that you want to test out before actually sending the best. A couple notes on this. If you have a specific call to action, like a specific link that has higher value or they do something of more value, if you set that up within the link library, like a super important link, that's also going to affect how the broadcast performs and which broadcast is the best one. Because ultimately, you want to send your email out to the most effective and highly valuable engagement. So if you go within the link library and set up the link library and lead scoring to identify, to show the system what's valuable to you, that will also play a part in how your campaign does. If you have any questions on this, please add them to the box and we'll talk about it at the end further. If you're looking to set up more of a sequence of emails that you want to set and almost forget about it, that's a nurturing sequence, that would be called a drip campaign. Automation drip campaigns. Create a new drip campaign by going into the Actions, Add Drip Campaign section. You identify the name. When do you want to send out your emails? There's also a couple filters you can set up to help make sure that you're only sending to valid contacts. So for example, do they have a specific custom field? Or did they read a previous drip campaign that you set up that you would like them to read? Or do they have a specific tag? You can also copy drip campaigns. This option right here is only available for account managers because there's a lot of automation behind drip campaigns as it triggers as soon as anybody's in the account. Also, with drip campaigns, you want to set it up within a new group and then add contacts to that group. If you have a group, let's say with 100 contacts in it, once you save this drip campaign, it's going to automatically trigger for all those 100 contacts are in the group already. So just keep that in mind when setting up a drip campaign to make sure that you're only sending relevant information. If you want more customized journey paths for each individual customer, this would be within the automation journeys. In this journeys feature, you have different options here. You have the objects, what we call them. We have a decision based on any criteria or something that the client does that is a yes or no question. You can wait a delay of a certain amount of time. Action is, what do you want to do? Do you want to send them an email? What kind of action do you want to happen? And then you want to make sure that you stop every single journey. This will help with the tracking, reporting, and making sure that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to your campaign you're setting up. Along the actions, any of your previously saved journeys, you can load them up. You can also save here as well. So for example, we'll create a super simple journey. I like to start my journeys with a decision. This just helps make sure you're always sending it to the most accurate people that are meant to go in this journey. Just because journeys are not group specific, you want to make sure that you have some sort of catch-all filter. So for example, my first decision would be if a client has a specific tag. Let's say they went to my sign-up form and they downloaded my ebook. And then I tagged them with this ebook download here. So do they have the download tag? Are they interested in it? If the answer is yes, then I will send them the email to download. If the answer is no, then I'll just stop the journey because we need to have that for every option. Once the ebook download, I can wait a specific delay. Inside here, you have a few different options. You can wait for them to click a link. If you're sending them a document to sign, there's a few different options here, but I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to say 48 hours. So wait 2 days. And then ask the system, did they actually open or click or download that ebook? Is there a specific link that you're tracking, or did they go to your website? You can do randomly true or false here as well. There's a few different options. So let's say I wanted them to click on the email and actually download that book. If the answer is true, then I will send them another email. Here, you can also activate a specific workflow for someone to call them or to move them into different groups. There's different automation you can do here, but I would send them another email. And then that process can just get over. If they did not click on the email, you can always resend that same email with a new subject line or a bit different version to see which one's working better. So you can see how this can kind of build out, and you can customize your different paths for each customer depending on their engagement and what they're doing with your company. Make sure to save all the journeys as well. So let's jump back into the system right here. And so there are so many tools that you can really use to set up this marketing automation, but it's really important that you first establish the plan. Why are you setting up the automation, and what do you want the process to do? And it's important that your whole team understands this as well. So you're no longer working in silos, and there's open communication and engagement. So some takeaways, like we said, have a plan, work with your team, and really just understand why and how you'd like to automate. And don't automate everything at once. I would suggest starting with something like one email, for example, and then moving into the drip campaigns or journeys, depending on how you see your clients are engaging better, and just constantly improve that and get to learn all the features, because there's a lot of them. And make sure your processes are sound. This is really important. As that quote said way earlier, that any processes that you have, once you set automation to it, it just magnifies that. So you want to make sure that your business is putting its best foot forward and just constantly giving them the right experience. Use your data to really create the effective messages. That's where the testing comes in, and who your clients are they clicking or reading, and use that information to adjust it for the next time around. And then test everything over and over just to make sure that you have all your spelling, your automated processes. It's good to make your team go through the automation system as well, just so they can see what the client sees and also make adjustments that way. And lastly, just be creative and have fun with the automation. It's going to make your life a lot easier and help you grow. It's going to free up some time and also give your clients that level of experience that now in the digital world they're expecting almost. So there's a lot of tools within the system, and you can always reach out to our team and we can always walk you through this. Each of the features we talked about today, we do have full tutorials on all of that as well. So let us know if you do want to see a full in-depth on kind of how to set that up, how to do the tracking, and we can definitely share that with you. So I do see a few questions within the Zoom control panel. We are going to jump into that. So if you have any questions, please add them in there. And if you are watching a recording of this later on, please email us support@GreenRope, or our number's right here. We're happy to help you just set up this automation. All right, a few questions that we have. Firstly, in the campaign optimizer, what are you testing in 2 hours? I just want to see people open it, or is it just the subject line attraction? So in the campaign optimizer, we can dive into that really quickly. It's gonna be how long do you want to run this campaign for? So let's say I had 100 contacts and I'm sending out 2 different emails to test. I would send it to 10% of my audience. These 2 hours right here is going to just show at the end of those 2 hours, let's say you wanted to do 24 hours, give people a whole day to this whole day for this 10% of people to actually engage and read and open your email. So once they open, if you do have any like images or anything in there that they need to click to download, that's also going to be engagement. But there's a lot of factors that kind of go into the effectiveness of this. So one, whatever you set up within the lead scoring, that's the points that's going to be associated with coming into factor. So it's more than just reads. It's reads if people click on there more, if they're clicking on a specific link more. There's a lot of factors that go into the effectiveness. If you want to adjust the effectiveness and kind of manage that a bit more, that's where that lead scoring would come into play. This section here is where you would set up the points of value. So whatever points you set up here, this will help determine the effectiveness of that campaign that you set up. Austin, can you show me where the salesperson interacts with GreenRope for managing and nurturing their leads? That is a bit more on the sales aspect versus the marketing automation. I can show you quickly, briefly, but I want to keep this more marketing automation tools focused, Austin. So I'll follow up with you a bit more on the sales process, but everything that we talked about today, the sales team also has access into the contacts record, into all of the automation. So for example, if a client clicks on that link to schedule a demo, right? Let's say that link is to schedule the demo. You can set up a workflow, which would be the automation workflow, to notify that salesperson to follow up with that, to follow up. So everything that you set up to notify the salesperson is going to actually show within their contacts dashboard as well. So throughout the system, if people do engage and work with your marketing automation tools, you would set up so any of the workflows would notify the salesperson, and it will show right here on their upcoming to-do list. So they would click on it, go straight into the contacts record, and they would see exactly what led them to this point. What marketing tools did they use to get that? And yes, we are recording all this session for you. Awesome, we will be doing another webinar on the more of the sales focused, but yes, we do have within the apps drop down more is more of the sales related inquiries right here. And this is where you can set up your ticketing, your projects, and all the Kanban board, especially with the projects. It's gonna be there. Going back to question 1, Sanjiv, so when you're using the campaign optimizer, this is to compare different emails that you're sending out. It's going to be ultimately a one-off email that you send. The winning email is going to be sent out. And that's step 6. And where do you want your winning email to be sent? To identify which one is going to be sent, you're going to choose the ones that you think are going to compete against each other for the highest engagement. So let's say you have 3 emails that are very similar, but you've adjusted a couple pictures, you can adjust the heading, you can have like completely different files. And whatever of the 3 here that work best, that's the one that's ultimately going to be sent to the rest of the audience that were not sent the previous email. So no one's going to get the email twice. It's set up that way. All right, Austin, so why are journeys and workflows separate functions? Workflows can be thought of as the hub of any automation that you want to set up. So I can show you right here. So the workflow manager is just, what do you want to happen? So what do you want to happen when somebody does something of value? This is just an example courtesy call. You can alert myself when this is triggered. You can send an immediate email to the client, send them a text. Trigger actions. What do you want to happen? Do you want them to start a journey, pause, stop a journey? So when they do something of value, you can also manage where they are in the journey. And then, modify the contact record. So this is kind of managing what automation you want to set up. And then the journeys, you would plug in that automation as more of an overview. So for example, it would be within an action. When someone does something of value, you want to trigger that workflow. This is where you would activate that specific courtesy call workflow that we had. It'll kind of show you an overview of what's in this workflow as well. But this is kind of, you would plug that workflow into the journey. Great questions, everybody. Thank you so much for, I'm happy to show you anything within the system. And if you have any questions like right after this and you want to kind of dive a bit deeper into, for you, Austin, any of the more sales related, please just reach out to us. We're happy to help. And I think that we can always create another webinar like this, but more sales focused. And I'm sure that's going to come in the pipeline. Bridget, does this integrate with Salesforce? So we are a competitor of Salesforce, we do have some integrations that you can set up, especially if you're like moving over. Our team will work with you to kind of get your system embedded or your new contacts built within the system. I believe there's a free app called the Zapier.com that you can kind of integrate with. Otherwise, if you're not a GreenRope user, there are some free tools that we still provide that you can kind of build out these journeys that we have set up. So you can look up, it's called journeyflow.com, and it's a free tool that GreenRope has provided just because we really love this drag and drop visual of how to set this up. Austin's question, can learning be part of a journey or a workflow? I'm not really understanding what you're wanting to learn. Journeys are more based on, what the client has done, or have they read, or what their engagement is, or who they are. And in that aspect, yes, we do have segmentation based on the demographics, the engagement levels, the locations. There's a lot of filtering that you can do to kind of segment your contacts within a journey. But in terms of learning, yeah. That would be more of our learning management system. If you're wanting to more teach somebody about a specific feature, thank you, Bjorn, it would be within the app's learning right here. And you can actually create your own modules and teach your clients to go down specific paths and take tests and review content more in a structured way. Oh, okay, awesome, Austin. So yeah, go look into the app's learning management system. And you can always, so each learning management module has a link associated with that. I don't think I have anything set up in here, but you would basically set up courses that you want to send your clients to take your course, for example. And each course would have a link. And so what you would do inside your journey, you would send them an email with that link. And then you can track it that way if they're opening the link to take your course and doing it that way. So there are two different features, but they are integrated based on sending your client there or sending them into this new group with the LMS system. Sanjay, in terms of your, let's see here. Your question was within the campaign optimizer, do you at that time choose one of the test emails to test with the audience, or do you choose more than one test? Oh, okay, thank you for the clarification. So when you set up your test messages here, whatever messages you've selected, the system's gonna automatically disperse. Let's say you've set up 3 messages. The system's automatically gonna disperse evenly these messages to a random amount of your target audience. So all the messages are gonna be sent out between your 25% of your target audience. And so we keep it as, it's done as algorithmic and just kind of random, but each message has an even chance of being read, being integrated with, like engaged with, and it's only going to be to 25% that you've sent to. And then whichever one wins out of these 3 tests that you've sent out, the remaining 75% here is going to be sent that one email, that one. Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, I can absolutely just meet with you after this and just walk you through it a bit more, but that's the basis of it. And then Austin, oh, perfect. I'm glad that answered your question. And then Austin, I will follow up with you a little bit more about the learning management system because it's a really, really good tool. And we also use it for our business, for our certification program, and we send our clients through this LMS as well. So if you are thinking about building a course and you want to use this system, you can always go through one of our courses and understand the flow and how we've set it up personally for our clients. Great questions, everybody. Thank you so much for being so engaging with us all. All right, and you will be getting a recording of all the slides and presentation as well. If you do have any other questions, please reach out to us. Otherwise, thank you everybody, and have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you.